Hey everyone, welcome to the Solar Pedal Collective, where we rise through shared light. I'm Ryan. Great having you here, or great having you back here. If you're returning, if you're experiencing this for the first time, I'm kind of using this to kind of like catalog my experience, my spiritual awakening experience, the things that I'm hearing and seeing, and all that stuff, as well as um, moving into what I'm being told is my purpose, which is to help others through my spiritual awakening and through the things that I can do or start to do because of it. Um, and yeah, and I am as genuine as possible with it. So if I swear or anything like that, that's because it's intense or anything. I don't normally swear like or use foul language regularly. So if I do use foul language, it's because I'm being I'm being influenced to use it, or it's really the only way to express what's coming through. So yeah, it is interesting. Like my spiritual awakening and everything has been interesting. And before I go into that, let's finish up. And so like with cataloging my spiritual experience and everything, and then sharing it and helping others with it, um, like I'm being guided more into a teacher, healer, mentor role with this. Even though I'm very much wet behind the ears, very much green with this situation. It's just the things that I'm being told. It makes it sound like I know what I'm talking about, but more often than not, like I'm sharing with you what I am hearing. I'm sharing with you what I'm hearing, what I'm experiencing, and then things that I'm not allowed to share or they tell me don't share, I don't, because it's like having that connection with a higher consciousness or with other higher dimensional beings. It's all about trust. It's all about trust with that connection. If you start trying to manipulate what they're saying, if you start trying to control the narrative, as it were, if you're omitting things or adding things that they did not want you to add or omit, then do that enough, they get upset, they stop communicating. So it's all about trust. And it works the other way too. Like if they are just bombarding you with messages and you start putting up a boundary, be like, hey, too much. And you start thinking that consciously and they don't accept that, if you keep your boundary firm, it'll stop. What you receive and what you hear and everything, you control. And sometimes it may not feel like that. Sometimes you might get a message or a download or something like in your dreams or just out of nowhere, and it's intense and it's strong and you have no control over it. Sometimes those do happen. If the energy, the vibration of the message is strong enough, it'll reverberate and resonate through a boundary. I mean, it won't be as intense. It'll still get through. So if you receive those messages and you have that boundary up and you have it to where like you're not receiving as intense of a message and that still comes through, just think, how intense was that message? So, but yeah, it's just I'm using this channel mainly to like reach out, let my energy get out there, let people be able to experience that energy, because I am being told that my energy very much is a catalyst. My energy is a catalyst. And every time that I make a video, my energy goes into the video. And every time somebody watches the video, that energy is released to them and becomes a catalyst for spiritual awakening. But you have to be willing to receive it. So it's like you watch this video or you watch any of my videos, the energy is there. It's like, what would be a good analogy? It's like having a shower faucet over you, and you have an umbrella. So turning the video on is like turning on the shower head. All the water's coming down, but you have the umbrella, so it's not hitting you. Only when you choose to allow the water to touch you does it affect you. So the water is technically the energy in this video. It won't touch you. It will not affect you until you are ready to receive it. And more often than not, you will only find this video and you will only find my videos when the energy is resonating with you. So don't be afraid that, oh, I'm being attacked by my energy. No, that's not how my energy works. My energy is very healing. My energy is very soothing. It's not aggressive. My energy is not aggressive. So when you watch these videos, don't fear. Don't fear that energy is there. Excuse me. Like all of a sudden, like not tightness, but it felt like I had to burp. But like it was stuck right there. But yeah, don't fear my energy. Don't fear watching these videos, because nothing bad is going to happen from it. It's just when you are ready to accept that energy is there, and it will be a catalyst for your spiritual awakening. You just have to be willing to receive it. And everybody's spiritual awakening starts differently. Like, once you receive my energy, it could start instantaneously. It could take days, weeks, months, years. Who knows? Everybody's spiritual awakening is different. And sorry, I'm still monitoring things at work, and my screen just flashed. So that's why I looked over. But no, it's nothing to be afraid of. It can be scary. Awakening can be scary and is scary. I'm not going to say just it can be scary. It is scary. Awakening is really scary, because awakening is removing filters and foundations that were built essentially your entire life, and you're removing them, and you are changing them so you can perceive differently. And that is a lot. That's a lot for your body, not your consciousness. That's a lot for your body. Because I said this in the last video, I believe I did. The human body is inherently lazy. The human body likes systems of repetitiveness. The human body likes structure. So, like, case in point, the easiest way to say that would be like with a medicine, or like, yeah, like what is the word? The word was just in my head. Oh my gosh. Hormone therapy. Bah. There we go. Like with steroids or something. That is a clear cut. That's easy. That's easy to understand. if you take steroids, the structures, like for a male, if male were to take steroids, the actual biological structures in our body sees that it's getting so much more steroids, hormones from this source, that it no longer needs to produce. So since it doesn't need to produce, the organs that produce or start the system to produce steroids in the human body stop. And that's why they shrivel up. That's why gonads shrivel. It's because they no longer have a purpose. And the body realizes they no longer have a purpose because steroids or testosterone is coming from a different source. And it recognizes that there's a different source, that it's stronger than what the body can do. So the body shuts down the system that no longer is producing the most amount. That's the simplest way to express it. That's very layman's. But that's what it is. And so the human body, that's why I say the human body is inherently lazy, because it likes those systems. If something else is stronger, it'll shut down the system and it will adopt it. And that's why taking steroids is so dangerous. Because the moment you stop taking steroids, the system in your body is already shut down. And then you stop, like hormone therapy, you stop steroids. So you shut down that testosterone source. And now your body's like, well, I can't start this back up. I already shut it down. So that's why they started coming up with therapies to like essentially restart that hormone system in the male body. But it's never as good as it originally ran. So that's the layman's term of how the human body is inherently lazy. There's so much more to it. There's so many systems that your body has. It has ranges and everything, so it likes that homeostasis. It likes that balance. But when you start introducing foreign sources of things, your body kind of gets out of whack. And so when outside forces are influencing you, like I keep saying that word way too much, like a negative influence, that negativity is not coming from inside your body, but it is strong enough that it is affecting your body. So your body recognizes a stronger source and starts suppressing the other sources of influence in your body, so that negative influence starts to overcome everything. And quite frankly, that's why I feel like depression and things like that come from. Because it is overwhelming. And then your body adopts it. Because it's this stronger source, so that's what it wants. So then it adopts it. And so now you're down this spiral of depression. And it's hard to work yourself out. So, all right. That was a rabbit hole. Quite frankly, I don't remember where we started with that rabbit hole. But we went down it. It was a lot about being afraid of my energy in the video. So long story short, you don't have to be afraid of my energy. It is not an overwhelming source of energy. It's subtle. My energy is subtle. It's to help influence, not to overpower. Now that that's out of the way. But yeah, I also want to do like Reiki energy work, things like that. Do more tarot readings. I need to set up a space, or I need to find a space to where I can have it, all my stuff there and ready to go. So I can just sit down and get to it. But yeah, so I just catalog my experience and everything, and I try to send out, or I try to give out messages when I receive messages for people. I did my first collective tarot reading last week, and that was interesting. I definitely want to do more of those. So yeah, I am in no way an authoritative figure in the spiritual world, even though like I'm starting to get synchronicities that like I am somebody to be in a leader role upcoming, that I'm going to be in the spotlight a lot. And like with tarot readings and everything, you have to take a lot with a grain of salt. And I know I say that, but I'm spiritually awakened and everything. Not necessarily with a grain of salt, but you have to critically think about the information you receive. And I also said a couple videos ago that like when you do a tarot reading or you scry or you divinate, any type of divination is like looking at the grand tapestry of everything and singling it all the way down to a tiny little speck. That's what you're seeing. You're like seeing a pixel of a piece of hair, or a pixel of a strand of hair that is on a person's body that is part of a tapestry that is 100,000 miles high by an infinite length. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing a very minute detail. So you have to critically think about that. And that's why you have to do more than, like, that's why I feel, sorry. That's why I feel you have to do more than one tarot reading. Not in like quick succession or anything, but like if you're watching tarot readings on YouTube, pick tarot readings from different people. Try to pick them that have different like titles, things like that. And watch them. See what information is in them. And see if there's any synchronicities. That's ultimately what I've been doing. Like, I don't just watch the same people for tarot readings. I don't just watch like, oh, here's a message for somebody, or blah blah blah. Like, I make sure that I look at the titles and they're not like the same kind of a theme, where it's like, oh, abundance is coming your way, or love is coming your way, things like that. You don't want that overall theme, but like you want to make sure that you're picking and choosing videos that like when you look at them they resonate with you, that just like even just looking at the thumbnail, seeing if you have like a physical reaction or like a physical sensation or something like that, and then if you do, click it and just do several tarot readings and see if there's any synchronicities, and then you start piecing it together based off of that. And that's what I've been doing ultimately. I've been like, I usually watch maybe like anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 tarot readings a day, just to see if I can pick out synchronicities. And I mean, some of the tarot readings, yeah, messages in there resonate with me, some don't. It's perfectly fine. It is perfectly fine. But seeing the synchronicities, like I've seen a lot of synchronicities about Ra, the sun god, Isis, like essentially the Egyptian god pantheon. Um, I haven't seen a lot of the other gods that don't get named a lot. I actually haven't seen Set. I've seen Anubis. I haven't seen Set. But like Ra, Isis, Bastet, Sekhmet, Horus, Osiris, Anubis. Those are the seven. Those are the seven Egyptian gods that I see, and that are essentially, not essentially, but that are revolving around me, that are tied to me, that are essentially my spirit guides, and that is incredibly weird saying that. Incredibly weird saying that. But yeah, it is incredibly interesting, and I lost my train of thought. But yeah, it's weird to think that gods, Egyptian gods, are my spirit guides. Because that has a lot of a lot of different implications. But I was going over like tarot readings, the different tarot readings, looking for the synchronicities. But yeah, I get a lot of synchronicities about like the Egyptian gods. And then also synchronicities that I am a healer, that I have unfathomable energy. That I'm a healer, that I am a leader, that I am a mentor, that I'm a shaman, that I am going to be in the spotlight in the future soon. I do get a lot of synchronicities about abundance, but I don't think of it as like financial wealth. I think of it as abundance, like being happy, joy, an abundance of joy, things like that. And I mean, the spotlight could just be my YouTube videos, being on the internet, being seen. So but you start to pick out synchronicities. Actually, one of the synchronicities that I'm starting to get a lot of is being a dragon rider, because of like I've started to see some intuitive videos, not necessarily like tarot readings, but like videos where the person's getting a message that they had in a meditation. But yeah, like about the dragons returning, and synchronicities that I'm a dragon rider. And that really resonated with me, because I was obsessed with a book when I was younger. The Dragon Riders of Pern. That's an old book. It's a thick book. It's a big book. But I was obsessed with it. Absolutely obsessed with dragon riding. Like a person being able to ride a dragon. Dragons in general. Absolutely obsessed with it. So, like, hearing that and everything, that I thought that was a really interesting synchronicity. Like, the moment that I heard, like, you are a dragon rider, it was like, holy crap. It's like, I don't know if anybody's had one of these experiences where, like, all of a sudden you're just like, it goes bing, you get that light bulb, and you're like, oh my god. So, yeah, that was cool. So that's a synchronicity that I'm starting to get more and more of now. So I've been getting synchronicities that I am tied to Egyptian gods, mainly Ra. I don't know if I'm Ra reborn. I don't know if I'm tied to his lineage. But I have an insanely strong connection to Ra, the sun god. And there are so many synchronicities in my life, looking back, that it makes sense now. Like, I don't know how I didn't know. But it absolutely makes sense now. But then also that I am a dragon rider, and I just need to relearn how to do that. Which then makes me wonder, Like the myth of Ra, the sun god, and his vessel, the boat. What if it wasn't a boat? What if it wasn't a boat? What if the lore was changed because that was easier for people to understand? Or that's what they interpreted the dragon to be. That it was a vessel. That it was a boat. What if it wasn't a boat? What if it was a dragon? It's interesting to think about. It's really interesting to think about. But it's even more so than that. So now I'm starting to get messages like, yeah, you're going long enough. Just get to the nitty gritty. Okay. So, like, looking for all those synchronicities and everything, that's the best way to do the tarot readings. Like, looking at a few, looking at the ones that resonate with you, and then trying to see if there's synchronicities in between them. Like, they say the same things. And that's essentially how I've been doing tarot, like my tarot reading, like getting information, getting synchronicities. And it's kind of interesting because a lot of readings that I have watched recently, they very much try to avoid talking about the thing that I talk about a lot, time. And last night I had a dream that it was like, you're on the right path. Keep digging. Keep digging about time. Keep talking about time. You're almost there. And I got epiphanies. Like, I got major downloads from that dream about time. And I've said it before, like, time ultimately is a unit of measurement. You have seconds, minutes, and hours. So it can't be a dimension because it's a unit of measurement. But the first three dimensions are also units of measurement: length, width, and depth. Well, technically, they're not units of measurements, they're dimensions, because we measure them with units of measurements: meters, millimeters, inches, centimeters. So they are dimensions. Time is not a dimension. Time is a unit of measurement. But we measure time in units of measurement: seconds, minutes, and hours. Time is not technically a unit of measurement. So there's that weird aspect. So it fits like the first three dimensions. The dimension itself is not the unit of measurement. We measure it with units of measurement. Time is not a dimension itself, per se. Like, they are theorizing that time is not technically a dimension, because it doesn't make sense, because it affects all dimensions. But it doesn't, because there are negative beings in a timeless dimension. If it is timeless, then time does not affect it. So time cannot technically be a dimension that affects all dimensions. Time is not inevitable. And time is not in a straight line. Because if time was in a straight line, if time was always the same everywhere, then time dilation would not be a thing. And then it got me thinking. it got me thinking about the whole theory with like black holes and everything, where like as something is approaching the black hole, you start to see like the after image, and the after image is because light is no longer being allowed to escape from the black hole, from the black hole's gravity, which also brought a very interesting question. If quantum entanglement is a thing and a photon does not travel like when you turn on a light, a photon influences in a different spot. That's what they're theorizing. If that is the case, then time would not be held by the gravity of a black hole. Or I'm sorry, not time, but light. Light would not be held by the gravity of a black hole. Because if it did, then quantum entanglement would still allow light to affect light particles somewhere else. So that's an interesting question. But then it also got me to think, because we're not perceiving time. We're perceiving essentially the amount of time light takes to travel from an object, reflect, and come back to you. That's how we perceive time. But if time were linear, if time was absolute, then you could take an object that is entangled with another object that is also entangled to, like, they're entangled to keep absolute time with each other and nothing else. Like, they just keep time with each other. They are synced atomically perfectly. And you have one stay on Earth and one go on a ship and leave our solar system. In theory, if they are quantum entangled, the one on Earth and the one in the ship will always tell exactly the same time, no matter what. They will always be synced, no matter what. But if that's the case, if quantum entanglement is real and one affects the other, then time dilation doesn't make sense. Because if time is absolute, it should not be able to contract and expand. So the one object on Earth and the one on the ship should always maintain perfect synchronicity. But if that's the case, then how come if the ship is moving away from our solar system, time on our solar system and on our planet specifically essentially speeds up for us, not for them? But why? Why? And then it got me thinking, is gravity time? Because gravity is inevitable. Gravity affects all things. In theory, gravity affects all physical things. And that makes time dilation make sense. Because if you're moving away from our solar system, you're moving away from the gravity of our star. Which, since that gravity no longer has as much of an effect on you, time changes. It slows down. Because gravity isn't as strong. So is gravity time. That would also make sense that the closer you get to a black hole, the slower time goes for you. See, that doesn't make sense. It should be time for you goes faster. So I don't know. Because yeah, if that's the case, the closer you get to a black hole, time should relatively speed up for you. Because it should be, as you move away from our star, time and gravity are no longer affecting you as much. So time essentially for you, in theory, slows down. And that's why you don't age as much in space away from our solar system as we do on Earth. But then as you're approaching a black hole, the gravity starts to slowly affect, or not slowly, but starts to affect you again, and you actually reach a point where the gravity influencing you is the same exact amount of gravity that would be influencing you on planet Earth. So you would get to a point to where time and gravity are now affecting you exactly the same way as it would on the planet. So technically, if you stayed in that gravitational well at that distance to where the gravity was affecting you the same exact amount as it would on planet Earth, you would experience time exactly the same. But then, as you get closer and closer, and gravity is having more of an influence on you, it should technically be speeding up your time. And now you are technically moving faster through time than people on Earth. What if that's the point? The more gravity you have, the faster you go. So if you can slow down the influence of gravity on you, would you technically be slowing down time? And in slowing down time, does it actually slow down your aging? So, I mean, that makes the most sense to me. Time is involved with gravity. They are succinct. They are part of the same thing. That's what I'm being told. I'm being told that they are part of the same thing. They are one thing. That there are laws to time and gravity. And that we don't fully understand it yet. We're still trying to make them two different things. Because that makes more sense than gravity being the dictator of time. But someone knows. Interesting. So, yeah. But then, see, that also raises more questions for like quantum entanglement. So again, back to the two objects perfectly quantumly entangled. So no matter what happens to one, it should influence the other, no matter what. So I wonder if that would work. So if quantum entanglement is a thing and it's real, which one's the parent? So like if you pair things quantumly, like quantum entanglement, it's whatever affects one affects the other, right? So either one's the parent. But is there a way to dictate which one is the parent? Where, so like, whatever happens to this object affects this one, but whatever happens to this object doesn't affect this one. Because if that were the case, and you quantumly entangled something with something else, and you took you took the parent, and you got it out into space, past our solar system, no longer being affected by our star's gravity, then the one on Earth should technically be weightless, should not be affected by gravity, and therefore not affected by time. So if you could build something big enough, and it doesn't necessarily mean that like this object has to be the same size, shape, and everything as this object. What if this object was a tiny object, but it was quantumly entangled with a building, a ship, a vehicle, a person? That's an interesting theory to think about. Because if you got it far enough beyond the influence of gravity, then the object on Earth would be weightless, would not be affected by time. But then would that also mean that things that are within it would adopt the same properties? So if somebody were to be in that object that is being affected by a quantum entangled object that is in space, would the person inside the object inherit the same qualities as the object that is in space? If the object in space was big enough to have a space in it. But you would have to quantum entangle the space. To which, if you're going to get to that point, you might as well create a pocket dimension within the object. I wonder if that's how beings did it. I wonder if that's how the negative beings did it. That's how they got into a pocket dimension of timeless space. Is they created a pocket dimension of an object and went into that. And then for whatever reason, their reality was destroyed. But the object that they quantum entangled and put into a different reality still existed. So the object that it was tied to in their reality remained, and that's how they survived. But they're in this object of timelessness, and they have no escape. But they have learned through what we've experienced, or what our reality has experienced as millennials, they have learned how to influence other realities. And that's the issue that we're now having. It wasn't that they just influenced our reality. It's that they've influenced our reality in such a way that we have started to build things for them to come through. We're starting to open portals, and they're just waiting for us to open the right one. Wow. Okay. Wow. Like I'm seeing, for the first time ever, the aura, like my visual, not interpretation, my visual stimulation, like being able to see aura. It's always been like rainbow or all color, but after saying that, like I'm seeing flashes of green. Like I just got it. Like you just figured it out. So I don't know if that's right. I don't, but like I'm being told, like ding 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 ding. So, but I'm gonna leave that there. Thank you so very much. This was a very interesting one. This was heavy. This was a heavy video. I did not expect it to go where it went, but it went there. And that's what these videos, like, I just go where it takes me. I don't plan ahead or anything. I just go where it takes me. So yeah, thank you so very much for tuning in. I know this video resonated with you, otherwise you wouldn't have watched it. But if you find yourself staying till the end or liking my content, please don't hesitate to subscribe. That really helps me, because I want to build a community. I want to get this out to as many people as possible, and I want to start more down my path of my purpose. I want to open up essentially a shop where I can do energy work, perform healing, and things like that. Yeah, so, but that's down the road. So thank you so very much. I hope you enjoyed, even though it was very heavy. I hope that whatever resonated with you, like it really struck you like a bolt of lightning or something, and you're just like, aha. And that's what we do. That's what we do here. We try to rise together through shared light. So the only way to do that is by illuminating. What? So thank you so very much. I'm dragging this on. Thank you so very much, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.